Good morning. Hey there, hi there. How's your pie there? It's cold out today. Let's start by telling you that. I've been on this kick lately about open forums or candidate forums, debates, maybe. Uh, I have an issue with the way things are done. So I did a little looking into it just to understand. It's governed by. I got my notepad here. Not governed, I shouldn't say. There's a nonprofit group, 501c3, called the Commission on Presidential Debates. Now, this is only the national level, of course. But what I'm finding is it does kind of set the tone for a lot of debates. I mean, it kind of lays out the groundwork. And a candidate has to achieve 15%. They have to have 15% polling in order to be welcomed on the stage, basically. Which is it's really bullshit. It's geared towards the two-party system. It really keeps it a two-party system. How are you ever going to achieve 15% if you're not allowed on a stage? I mean, if you don't have billions of dollars, or you're not selling your soul to the devil, and by devil I mean special interest groups that want to pay to play, they give their money to get something in return. Unofficially, of course, because you can't do that. That's illegal. The independents, for example, that's the one I want to talk about today because we have one. I met the independent candidate or an independent candidate for Minnesota governor here, I don't know, a month ago or so. It seems like a good guy. And for the record, this is in no way an endorsement of any one candidate or multiple even. I think the people should be given all their information, and they should be allowed to hear from all the candidates and know who they are. Granted, people have a responsibility to do a little homework themselves and seek out who's running, what they're about, maybe reach out to them, ask them questions. Why can't they, or why is it so hard to get them, A, on the ballot, and B, on a debate stage or any kind of open forum? I think we should demand to hear from, and this is, of course, my opinion, and I know I'm simple-minded sometimes, but I feel like the government, our rulers, or daddy as we like to call them, they are supposed to be us, of the people, for the people, by the people, or however you, I think that's backwards. Anyways, of the people is the key part here. Let's just say I want to run for governor. I understand maybe needing a couple hundred signatures or something. I could see that. Otherwise, the ballot could be so freaking long that it would take 2 hours to vote. But once you're a confirmed candidate, people should hear from you. And I think the media or whatever groups are putting these on, they do have an obligation to be nonpartisan. For example, in our local debates for school boards and city councils and all that stuff, our Chamber of Commerce usually holds some sort of debate or forum. They can't lean one way or the other. They can't encourage you to vote one way or the other. They have to be nonpartisan, which is what a good public forum is. It's for everybody to answer their questions, the same questions, so the people can decide what they like and who they like. Back to this Commission on Presidential Debates, the CPD. From what I could tell, it was formed in the 80s, and it's an independent nonprofit. And I find this funny, not controlled by any political party. However, it was formed by the chairman of the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee. It was the chairman of the Republicans and the Democrats saw a need for this board to govern how debates work. So they were on the board of directors, and the one guy, I don't remember which one of the two, was on for quite some time. Actually, they're not supposed to be influenced by either party, but they have the chairman of those parties as board members that make the decision of this board that doesn't get influenced by the parties. You see my confusion? It's not making any sense to me. So the moral of this story in particular is I feel like we need to demand more transparency. That's a great word, people. It's another hot word people like to use with government, but it's kind of the key word. We really do need, I mean, some level of transparency, especially in an election. We need to be aware of who our options are, why they are, and vote what you feel is best. Don't vote. We get so stuck on these parties. You know, if I've always voted Republican, even though this Republican candidate may be absolutely horrible, I can't vote Democrat. It's just against everything that I believe in. So I have to vote for the guy that I don't agree with just because that's the party that I've chosen. I disagree. I think that's what it's become, definitely. I think that the parties have definitely become so extreme on both sides. And I say both because there's really only two. Very rarely do we get an independent. And I guess I shouldn't even use the word independent. Any other party. It could be the Green Party, the Tea Party, the Blue Party, or I don't care what party it is, unless it's like a 1992 party, then I'm in. We'll back that up. 1999 party. 92 was kind of a wild year for our country, which actually is funny. From what I can tell, is the last time the Insurrection Act was enacted. Was 1992 after the acquittal of those Rodney King cops. And from my brief homework into the Insurrection Act, this has been the longest time in the history since it was created in 1807, I think. This is the longest gap since it's been invoked. It's been like 33, 34 years, something like that. Before that, I think 23 years or somewhere in there was the longest gap in between its use. It was used a lot in the 60s, 50s, 60s over segregation. There was a lot of that, I guess, from what I was reading. That act was used quite a bit. And it's basically, long and short of it is, it gives the president, the federal government, control over the military, essentially, to use them to control civil unrest in the very short version. Right now, our president is talking about using that here in Minnesota to get our bullshit under control. And it is bullshit too. People just cannot get along. Whether you're for it or against it, doesn't matter. You're stuck on your side. You're not going to come to the middle. You're not going to have a discussion or a debate unless you have 15% of the polling. Remember that. Then you can debate. Can't we all just get along? I mean, we could fight, but we should get along also. Like, can't you have a disagreement and then not hate the person for the rest of your life? Anyhow, why can't we disagree with each other but agree on this? Prime example, I was communicating with one of my children today, and we don't see eye to eye on political topics all the time, but boy, can we debate respectfully. You know, I could say my piece, they could say theirs. And at the end of it, my last comment was, see, we're not so different, because we're not. We really feel the same way. Just the way to get to it, we feel differently about. And there's always going to be some topics that, one party is going to suit your desires or your wants or your feelings on one topic. Like, for example, as most of you know, mine is guns. I love guns, and I love my rights to own guns. I'm pretty stuck on that one. If I know a candidate is against that or wants to infringe upon that, I'm not going to support that candidate. But that's one topic. I mean, that's one thing. Unfortunately, we really get hung up on those one items and maybe overlook the 12 good ones. Guilty here as well. You're never going to find somebody that is 100% in agreement with you, or that you're 100% in agreement with, if you're being honest with yourself and others. No two people are the same. We're all created equally, but individually. Except for you guys. You agree with everything I say. I can see it in your face. Show of hands who disagrees. Yep, don't see any hands. So thanks for playing. That's what I have for you today. It's kind of weighing on my heart naturally. That's even if you don't live in Minnesota, you know what's going on in Minnesota right now. Hide back under this thing a little bit more. So thanks for playing. Thanks for hanging out. And I hope you kids have a wonderful afternoon. Since this is like a 12-minute video already. We're going to cut her down. Yeah. Kiss my ass. So what? I don't care. I'm thinking about singing a song to you guys next week. What do you say? R.E.S.P.E.C.T. Just like that. Here's a little snippet. You see what's coming next time. So stay tuned if you want to watch Tyler Aretha Franklin. Just call me Frank.